Hey divas, welcome back to Women Unleashed, where our inner strength meets unapologetic confidence. We'll be rounding up our month 7, which has been tagged purposeful living and aligned action. And the past few weeks, we've learned to rediscover our why. We've learned to make intentional decisions. We've committed to consistency over perfection because we know consistency is power. And we said we're going to take the tag perfection off our title and replace it with excellence. Because sometimes that word perfection pushes into burnout, push us into a competitive spirit, and at the end of the day, we just fail. But when we look at it that no, we need to be excellent in what we are doing, we need to keep improving, we need to be better than yesterday, we need to learn from our mistakes so we can be the better version of ourselves. That sometimes pushes us forward and it helps us to be more grounded. So this week, we will be putting everything together and we are going to be asking ourselves a big question. I said, does my life reflect what I say I value? And that brings us to our topic. Today's topic is living an aligned life. So does your life reflect what you say, what you value, what you preach? Does your life reflect it? The Bible says, let your life so shine that men will see your good works and give praise to your Father in heaven. So does your life reflect the life of a leader? Does your attitude, your attributes, your behavior, your actions, do they reflect the woman you are becoming? Do they reflect the man that you are becoming? Because over time I realized that yes, this started off as a woman mission, but there have been so many men that have been blessed, that have learned from it. So we can't push them away. But obviously, it's still a woman unleashed program. But does your life reflect those your values, those your core values, those your aspirations, those your dreams, those things that you're doing now, do they reflect it? So this brings us, I said, what does alignment mean? I said alignment begins with clarity. You know, we like talking about consistency and clarity. Being aligned means being centered, being in sync with whatever you're doing. And we say alignment begins with clarity. It's a state where your beliefs, your values, your daily actions are not fighting each other. You're not saying one thing, acting in another way. No, that's not the kind of women we are. When you're saying one thing, wanting another thing, and doing something else entirely, you are not aligned. No, you're not aligned. You're not being fruitful to yourself. And that's why I say an alignment begins with clarity. And alignment is about honesty. Alignment is about integrity. Your yes be yes, your no be no. Yes. You want to be a professional makeup artist? You want to do it with integrity. That is it. When you align, your choices feel clean, not conflicted. You know? You work with your values, your core values. You remember the person who you are. You're a woman of integrity. You can't be shaken. You can't be pushed down. You can't be pushed aside. You're not rude. You're firm and you stand on your ground. The things that you do they reflect that, or do you chicken out? You don't need to justify or explain yourself to people when you align. Your yes is yes, like I say, and your no is no. And it's integrity in motion. That's the alignment is about integrity. It's about integrity. It's about making sure everything you do, you're not drifting away from your core values. No matter what life is throwing at you. Yeah. You might have season where, you pause and you have to start again, but you're not drifting away from your core values. Yeah. And what is misalignment? Misalignment, on the other hand, often shows up as chronic fatigue, emotional resistance, quiet dissatisfaction, and loss of peace. That is it. For example, I run a charity, and our purpose is to be able to ensure that every child has the best start in life, providing those basic things that children that their parents might not be able to provide can have, from 0 to 5 years old. And that is why it's good for you to have people in your corner. Organizations have trustees. You have board of trustees. In your offices, you have managers. You have junior managers. You have different rank of people. Everybody checking that everybody is working according to the organization's core values. When somebody begins to go outside what the organizations says is their core value, or when the charity begins to go the other way, you have people to say, no, 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 come back to the drawing table. This is not what we profess. This is not who we are. This is not where we say we are going. And that is when they bring you back to realign you back to your step. And also, as human beings, it is good to have people in your corner so that when you're going astray, yes, I use the word astray, when you're going off track, somebody can bring you back and say, Bookie, sweetheart, no, that is not who you are. That is not who you say you are. Those are not your values. Like I tell my children, I say a king does not lie. And they have priestly name. I've got Joshua, I've got Joseph, I've got Jeremiah. A king does not lie. Your yes must be yes and your no must be no. If something happens and you go the wrong way, you need to take ownership of it, apologize for it, and be accountable for it. So every now and then you have people that put you back on track. So sometimes we might move off track of our vision, but it is good to have good people on track to put you back on, good people in your corner to bring you back, on track. So those misalignments, they are not failures. They are signals. When you see that you're lacking peace in what you're doing, there are signals telling you, Bukola, reassess. Is this what you need to be doing? Is this the right thing? Is this how you need to be doing it? Do these reflect the person you are? Do they reflect, your values, your core value? They represent who you are. Bukola, you need to reassess. When those signals are beginning to flare up. And when we do that, we should do that. I said recognizing misalignment without self-judgmental. Do not kill yourself. You don't put yourself to it. And that's what this group is about. And that's why you need somebody in your corner. It can be your husband, your wife, your sisters, your sibling, a close friend, another lady in the group in your corner. You do not beat yourself. There are times that we all go off track. But when you realize you will retrace your step, go back to the drawing board and go back on track. And that's why you see leaders, especially people in prominent power, like pastors or politicians, they easily make mistakes because when there's so many crowds and so many things and they're so stressed because of the desire to be perfect. And that's why we took that name of, you want to walk in excellence, not perfection. If you remove the tag, be perfect. I know that you're human, but you can walk in excellence. You can be better each day. You see, when they get to that place, when they're trying to please everybody, sometimes they forget their values. They forget their core value. They forget who they are. They lost themselves in that place. And if they don't have people to bring them back, many of them, what do we hear? We read, sad stories about them. At the end of the day, when you miss it, which might often happen, you need people to bring you back. And when those signals come and you see that you're depressed, you're stressed about what you're doing, is a signal for you to pause, sweetheart. Perhaps go back to your meditation, your mindfulness. Sit back, take a step back and readjust, reassess. Come back again and keep moving forward. Yeah. So misalignment does not mean you are doing life wrong. It often means you have outgrown an old structure. Sometimes some things might not be working again and you need to, you need a new structure. Remember when we talk about systems and structures in place, you need to go back to the drawing board and redraw, replan and strategize. Where am I saying yes when my values say no? Those are the things you need to be checking. Where am I overextending instead of honoring peace? Where does my faith invite deeper trust and surrender? Those are ways that you'll be able to check when when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling sad, when there's a loss of peace, to check if you're beginning to walk in misalignment. And so you can make correction without judging yourself. Remember this group at the beginning, we said self-love. We need to learn to love ourselves. We need to learn to be compassionate to ourselves. We need to learn to be kind to ourselves. If you miss it, as long as it's not at the detriment of someone, it doesn't cause anybody's death, this is time for you to pick up, go back, and make sure that you're doing what you said you will be doing. Choosing adjustment that restores peace and integrity. And those are one of the ways that we talked about, all those small intentional steps that we're going to take when we find out that, no, I've gone off track. Begin again, picking small steps and, going back to the drawing board and begin to build on it again. Integrity means Your inner commitment and outer behaviors are consistent. Remember last week we talked about consistency, isn't it? You need to be consistent. You need to be consistent in what you're doing. You need to be consistent in taking those intentional decisions. And most of the time when we live a misaligned life is when because of those indecisions that happen. When we don't make the right decision and we just let life pass by, at the end of the day, we fall into the trap of being, going off the track, and then we beat ourselves up for it. Okay? Alignment looks like simplifying your schedule. That's one of the ways. Strengthening your boundaries, realigning priorities, choosing rest without feeling guilty. When you see you're off the track, the best thing to do is to have another sister in the corner to help you go through this thing, or another brother around the corner. You go through, you reassess, you take a pause. See, where have I missed it? Where have I gone off the track? What can I do? Out of love for myself, put myself back on the track and keep going. Because this year, we're not leaving anybody behind. This year, we're not leaving anybody behind. We're all going forward. We're all making it. That at the end of the year, we're going to look back and say, well done. You made it through. Remember, beginning of the year, we said, I'll look at this year as another opportunity for you to make it. Another opportunity for you to rewrite all the wrongs that you made the last year. Look at each month as a chapter. Each week, is the whole year as a book. Each month as a chapter, and each week as a new page open up to you for you to be able to write your own dreams, your visions, your aspiration, what you want your life to be. And there's no way, even when writers are writing, they'll make mistakes in him, because they start writing the story, they're getting excited, then they get stuck in one place. That's they're off track of what they're writing. Then they have to rip that and go back again to the drawing book. That's why sometimes some people take 3 months to write a small book, because when you get excited along the way, sometimes you go off track, you come back again, or you give it to the people to proofread. They say, this does not, it doesn't collate with what you have been writing in the other ones. Can you reframe again? And that's why we need people in our corner. Sweethearts. So this week, you're going to be asking yourself, where does my life feel most aligned? And where do I need gentle realignment? Remember, gentle realignment. I did not say you should be harsh to yourself, be crushed to yourself, or beat yourself up for it. We don't do that in this group. You don't sit down there, you will cry, you will stand up, you will move again. You will learn from people that have gone ahead of you. Where you have made your own mistake, you find out from people that have led ahead of you. Make corrections and push on, because your life must reflect the values that you profess. Your actions must reflect your values. What you say, what you do, everything must come together in harmony. Okay? So as we close this month 7, remember, alignment strengthens your authenticity. Peace follows the integrities. A focused woman moves with grace and peace. When you're focused, when you're consistent, you move with grace, and you move with peace, you move with power. You're not forcing your life forward. You're allowing it to flow from truth. And that is the posture of the woman who lives an aligned life. As you go this week, unleash your will. Do not shrink. Realign yourself back to your values and be the best version of yourself. Love you.